We're going to just jump right in. I am so excited to have you on the podcast. You've been in our community for a while, and I thought you would have really a lot of experience that you could share with our teachers. So thanks so much.
Oh my gosh, I am so delighted to be here and so delighted to be talking with you.
You are a performer first, really. You're a performer. You're classically trained from Juilliard. Tell me about your music education and what inspired you to continue studying it beyond, your younger years.
Absolutely. I have been very, very lucky throughout my life to have parents and teachers who recognized from a very early age that I did not ever want to stop singing. I was never stopping dancing around the house or in classrooms, um, and just making up my own songs, making up my own music from the very beginning. And so thankfully they recognized that. And really, since I was a child, I started taking piano lessons. I started off at a Yamaha school, actually, which was a really interesting experience, a really good one. And then, transitioning over to a private teacher when I got just a little bit older. I was joining choruses when I was a young singer and loved that experience of singing with other people and working together as a group and collaborating, which obviously is a great and important skill as a musician. I was very lucky when I was older, more in my teen years. I started actually getting really into adjudications with piano and competitions. Was very lucky even to be one of the winners in a couple of them. And so I got
Wow.
amazing experience to play in a recital with other winners at Carnegie Hall as a teenager, which was really mind-blowing experience. And then voice really started to pick up for me as well, doing adjudications and competitions, and just doing more and more musicals around town. In St. Louis, which is where I grew up, we have an amazing outdoor theater called the Muni. It is actually like I think 10 or 12,000 seat outdoor theater.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I was very fortunate to be a part of the teen ensemble and in the ensemble for a number of productions there, which was so fantastic because there, I got to see pros working
Yeah.
all day long. Just watching them was such an education. I had an assignment in my freshman year of high school civics class to do some kind of a community service project. And I knew that I needed experience performing in front of people more and getting over or making friends. I like to say making friends with my butterflies. And so I actually started to put together little 45-minute long shows of standards, songs from the Great American Songbook, the 30s, 40s, 50s, a little beyond as well. Really the music of the generation who was now living in retirement centers and nursing homes. And I'm an old soul. I will just say that I was kind of a maybe strange high schooler. I would come in like a vintage dress that I got at the vintage store, a hat, gloves. I had like a whole little
Wow.
display of old sheet music on the piano. And I would just do this little 45-minute long program of, Gershwin and Irving Berlin and Rodgers and Hammerstein. And I have to tell you, it was such an amazing experience, a moving experience. And it really, honestly, I say that it really was probably the thing that truly made me realize how important music is, how healing music is, and how it is truly when a lot of other things have faded away, because I was also performing in wings, wings for patients in the advanced stages of Alzheimer's. And, I'm 14 and 15 years old here. I didn't
Wow.
know how that was going to be received. People weren't even looking up at me. People would be humming the entire song with you perfectly, or
Wow.
singing the entire program with you word for word. And these people were like nonverbal otherwise
Oh
throughout the
my
day.
gosh.
And that for me, as you can imagine, being a freshman or sophomore in high school, seeing that, seeing how even when so many other things very sadly had gone away, music was what remained. That was what stayed. And that said something to me. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
there's something very, very very special about this music thing. Yeah. And so it was really kind of what I've decided to really devote my life to, really from that point on. And then I was very, very fortunate. It was really not even my plan at all. uh,
Yeah.
to go to Juilliard. It was literally the last application I filled out. It was I never want to say
Oh.
what if I hadn't, right? And it was
Oh,
the application I filled out. um, so
wow.
yeah, as you can imagine, that was quite an amazing surprise for me as a 17-year-old kid being accepted into that program. It was wonderful. A lot of it is a blur, a total blur, because we were
Mm.
so busy. But I loved it. I really loved it. I had the most amazing teachers there, especially my private voice teacher, W. Stephen Smith, also known as Steve Smith. He's kind of a big name in the voice teaching world. And he was just a phenomenal teacher for me, helping me find my own true, authentic voice, which is something I'm really big
Mhm.
about in my own studio. So, I mean, for me, it was just like this amazing playground of artistry
Yeah.
and creativity, and just to be around the other students alone, being around
Yes.
these superhero dancers and going to the drama productions. I mean, it was all so inspiring for a young person like me.
What an honor to have been there and to have worked with select individuals who have devoted their lives to music education. And now you get to continue that in a very different realm, right?
Yeah.
But you are passing along that legacy that they gave you. That's amazing. Yes, I'm reminded again and again as we work with so many teachers and I talk with teachers that the apps and the wonderful tools we have to learn music can't replace the one-on-one mentorship, or the group mentorship, or just that being with somebody who's been there. It can't. And it can teach wonderfully, and it can be a wonderful teaching aid and a substitution when there is no teacher available or present. But I mean, I see it again and again, teachers having experiences with students and students sharing experiences with teachers that are changing their lives and giving them an outlet and teaching them mental health. Like so many teachers these days are like, my focus is mental health. And like you're doing meditation with your students and like giving that to them in a lesson slot, why not?
Why not? I love that you just brought that up, because I cannot tell you what a difference in my life. I cannot tell you what a difference in my life having my piano teacher and my voice teachers growing up were honestly like my grandmas. They really were. And I
Yeah.
don't mean that in the sense of like, obviously we don't want to like blur the lines between teacher and
Sure.
family member, but I don't mean it that way. But kids are navigating through so much right now. And Lord, I feel so lucky to have not grown up during
I
Facebook
know.
and Instagram. So, I mean, aside from that, just everything going on in the world right now, and kids are going through so much. When I think about just the sense of peace and outlet and expression, and just the ability to
Mm-hmm.
talk to an adult who cared about me, who saw my love for something and recognized that and appreciated me for who I was, and not how well I did or how well I played or how well I
Mm-hmm.
sang or whether I got this rating or won this competition. Like, it was about none of that. It was about having this place to go, this person to talk to at the end of a long day of school, and
Mm-hmm.
then and being feeling seen, feeling heard, and then connecting
Yeah.
about something that we both loved. And I know what a huge difference that made for me growing up. I did not have a great school experience. There were very cliquey girls in my class. There was a lot of bullying going on. It was music was my solace. It was my sanctuary. And so I really hope to, I feel, I've actually had students tell me this, which I really love. They're like, I really feel that I can just come to this lesson as I am, tell you that I've
Mhm.
had a bad day. You meet me where I am, and we go from there. Yeah, and as far as like incorporating some yoga and some mindfulness or meditation into warm ups, which I do for those students who are interested. Not everybody is, and so I don't push it if you're not that kind of person.
Mhm.
But I know what a huge difference that has made in my life too. I mean, gosh, and too, Carly, as a performer,
Mhm.
we it's a really
Yeah.
brave and vulnerable thing that we do, and it can get really easy. It can be really easy to kind of be off balance, and
Yeah.
so I really do try to sprinkle some of that in, not every single lesson, but at least some of the time, so that my students can always know there's a place you can come to recenter yourself and to be kind of more at one with your body, making
Mhm.
that mind body spirit connection, and
Yeah.
and your whole day is going to be the better for it, not just your lesson. We know, like,
Yeah.
science is showing, when you are calming your vagus nerve, when you are deep breathing, you are slowing down your heart rate, you're calming down your nervous system, and so of course you're going to have a better lesson. So of course you're
Yeah.
going to have a more calm and focused and not fight or flight kind of situation during your lesson. And also just letting go of the day, what's happened to you throughout the day. If you've had friend drama, or you didn't get the part you wanted in the school play, or whatever it is, like
Yeah.
finding ways to let it go, and then be able to move on and really connect to your true self before you sing or play, I think is a really wonderful tool that I wish I had had when I
Yes.
was growing up.
I
So
was just gonna say, yeah, I think some teachers listening will be thinking like, I don't have that, in my life. Like I haven't been practicing. And so maybe
sure.
the step one is as musicians and as teachers with busy lives and possibly children and lives and lots of things, to incorporate mindfulness meditation into our work lives, I mean, can totally change your outlook, your perspective, your ability to cope with difficult circumstances in your studio with parents' emails. And like we know the drill as teachers, the things that happen, mindfulness can make all the difference. And that's why in TMO we have videos on how to do that. I need
Yes.
more, but
Which I love. I absolutely love them. And I love the holistic approach that TMO has taken. It just continues to be an ever renewing source of fantastic information from a huge variety of angles. Yeah.
oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I wanted to ask you because you have come from a lot of experience. How has TMO played a role in the growth and the professionalism of your business as you've been, expanding?
First of all, I so just to backtrack just a little bit, if you don't mind.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, so you're totally right. Yes, I started off as a performer, graduating from Juilliard, and then living in New York for a very long time. Yeah, pounding the pavement, doing the performer thing,
Hmm.
but also, of course, teaching. Very part time, but part time on the side. And I eventually moved to St. Louis, which is where I am now. And one of the great things about teaching online, as I started to discover back then, was I didn't have to lose some of my New York students, right?
Mm,
I could move and I could continue to see them and we could work together. Now, we were on Skype. Online
yeah,
students were not my primary focus. I was really doing mostly in person. And
right.
I actually moved to St. Louis also for a teaching position because I have certification in K through 12 music. So I was working at a school there and then teaching students, teaching music and directing a choir. Um,
Doing all the things
yeah,
because we can't ever choose.
really. Let's just say the last few years have been crazy, but very good, very good. They've stretched me in a lot of different ways.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I kind of started to get a little glimmer of so this is something that is possible during that time. So, I would teach full time at school, and then I would go home and, teach students privately in my studio there, or my New York students online.
Mhm.
And then a couple of years ago in 2021, I transitioned fully to teaching full time private lessons. And so I had definitely learned a couple things along that crazy year of Zoom school. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was teaching online then the whole year, and I was, already getting some ideas. But classroom teaching online and private teaching online, very different things,
Yeah.
very different. And so yeah, I knew that I needed a lot of new tools. And so yeah,
Mhm.
joining TMO, I believe last summer maybe, was really a game changer for me. First of all, just the I know everybody says this first, but it's true. It's true. The community is so amazing. The community has been so amazing. I cannot tell you. Um, and to anybody who's watching or listening to this right now, you know that it is very isolating. It is very isolating. I went from a school job where I had teacher friends and there were kids around me all day to doing
Yeah.
this, and I absolutely love it. But it is very, very isolating, and you can feel really alone. You can feel very much like you got to figure it all out. And I'm definitely one of those people. I'm guilty of that. I kind of feel like I have to pioneer my way through everything and figure it out
Mhm.
step by step. I'm working on that. But TMO really opened me up to, yeah, accept help from other people. Listen to other people's advice. And my goodness, people have been so kind and so generous in their advice, in their time that they've been willing to give me. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes members have even met with me on Zoom for like an hour to help me figure something out. And I am just blown away by that. So you guys know who you are. Thank you. Thank you. You're amazing. And so that alone has been amazing. And then number two, like just upping my tech game has been huge. Now I have a setup that I feel really, really good about. We can talk about it if you want, but I have received some just fantastic recommendations for everything that I use. It has
Mhm.
really upped my audio quality, video quality. I feel super confident now about what I offer to people because I know it's
Yeah.
really top of the line. And then yeah, and in your courses, the parts of the course about um, task batching.
Mhm.
Still working on that one, but I'm getting there. And just amazing like tech apps, I wasn't using anything like, the fun apps and the cool ear training tools that or the games sometimes that I've seen people introduce or share
Mhm.
in the membership. And my students have loved them. Like they ask for them constantly. And how great is that? That you have students like not wanting the lessons to end
Right.
practically every lesson. I don't say
Yes.
that as hyperbole. It really feels that way. I had a student yesterday say, "I wish." I mean, she's 6 years old, so she doesn't really concept of time, right? But she said, "I wish our lessons could be 20 hours long." And I was like, thank you. That is, it's just like that kind of feedback, that
Yes.
like these improvements, these awesome suggestions that I've gotten from everybody in TMO,
Mhm.
that's the result. That kind of feedback, that's the result.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing. And I mean, to think that you're online as well, like I still like, is this working? It is. It's
Yeah.
working. And because we still get a lot of naysayers who tell themselves or kind of this internal conflict teachers have who want so badly to be online but something, it's their upbringing, it's all the traditional methods, it's their parents, it's their old teachers telling them, oh, you can't
Sure.
be as effective online. And that internal battle is like keeping them from advertising and reaching out to students in New York and, people in other places. And it's really holding them back.
It's such a shame because I think that online lessons are such a game changer. I really, really do. I have noticed that my teaching improves. I actually feel
Mm,
in a lot of ways that my teaching has improved. Um, you have to be even more creative sometimes about how you explain a concept. You have to use your space. You have to be engaging, right? You have to still connect in that very one-on-one way that you would in person, just through a camera lens, right?
yeah.
And you have to be very clear in your directions because you're not going to do it for them. Um,
Hmm.
and so in that way, it has really, really stretched me as a teacher
Yeah.
for sure and for the better. And I'll also say for my students, I mean, because I have students who have transitioned with me from in person to fully online. My studio is fully online now, and I've noticed that they've become better musicians too, because I think the act of having to really listen, to really to listen closely, and then act on that is huge. It's really huge,
Absolutely.
and just even learning musical concepts, um, knowing how to find your place in the music, knowing how to mark your own score, knowing how to take feedback without somebody just
Hmm.
taking over and doing it
Oh
for
my
you.
gosh.
That is so huge. It is so huge. So
They're taking ownership. They're taking ownership where before teachers were like, I did everything for my students in person because I can't not, like, I can't
it's
wait. I
easier.
can't pause.
Yeah, it's easier, it's quicker, it's totally understandable why we do it, right?
Yeah.
But look at this, look at the autonomy and the skills that we are kind of not always intentionally, but that we are giving our students. And then
Yeah.
there's the whole practical aspect, if I can just get into that for a second. I mean,
Yeah.
my mom, I'm sure, is internally so jealous that that I mean, how many hours did she have to drive around between me and my sister,
Oh
taking
my
us to
gosh.
our different lessons, sitting in the car, waiting in the teacher's living room? I mean, that alone is a game
Oh my gosh.
changer. Time not spent in the car, money not spent on gas. Huge. You don't have to cancel
Yeah.
lessons when the weather is bad. If you're feeling a tickle in your throat and you're not sure what it is, you don't have to cancel that lesson. That's awesome. I love it. And and also just the health perspective of this. Especially as
Mhm.
singers, we gotta stay healthy. And if I'm being honest with my fellow teacher friends, with all the respiratory illnesses that are going
Mm,
around these days, um, I know that I have definitely been able to teach far more and stay healthy far more doing it this way, and that my students also have been able to stay healthy by me
yes.
not giving them something that I may have picked up from someone else, or they're breathing the same air that the person just before them was here, right? So they're staying healthy
Yeah.
that way too. They're not missing as much because it gives me peace of mind knowing
Yeah.
I haven't that they're not in an environment where I may be passing something on, or vice versa, or with each
Hmm.
other, right? So that's really big because honestly, sometimes when people do get these illnesses, singers especially, it can take you a very long time to feel fully recovered vocally.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that's huge. And last but not least, I'll just say I think it's pretty wonderful that we get to have the intimacy of
Mm,
of a lesson like this. I can speak to you just as personally like
mhm.
this, right? As we could if you're right here. And, for singers, I can demonstrate vowel formation, articulation, jaw release, right? We can do that all very up close and personal, but I'm not in your face. And for a lot of students, they don't want
Totally.
you in their space. And I get that. They don't want to be touched. I get that. This allows everybody their space to do their thing
Hmm.
and to feel really comfortable in their own environment, in their own home or in their own room, whatever it is. And
Yeah.
yet we get to have this amazing week to week connection.
Oh, amazing. Okay, teachers listening, you just heard from a world-class musician, a Juilliard trained performer. You can do this, and it does work, and it is effective, and your students will succeed and they will be successful. And you don't have to do it alone. We are here to help you. That's why I was motivated to start TMO was I had been doing it for 7 years and going, gosh, online teaching is a game changer for teachers, even pre-pandemic, thinking this should be more well known. How can I, spread the word? And it's just turned into this incredible blessing and solution for teachers in the most positive way, and it's continued. It hasn't ended just because the pandemic's over. It's not going away.
Yeah, it is not going away. I think it is here to stay. I think people are just loving the convenience of it. I have so many families who started off hesitant, very hesitant,
Yes.
because I get it. Hey, listen, I was a classroom music teacher and choral director during 2020. Like I definitely get it. That was a very quick, almost traumatic thing that happened to
Hmm.
a lot of people. And here we were having to pivot instantly to a brand new way of teaching and learning. So I know like the PTSD from the March 2020 Zoom school is real.
Yes.
And I totally get it,
Yeah.
people. I really do. I was there. I was teaching. Um, but are there so many more amazing ways to deliver a lesson now, even in just like the last 2, 3 years? Oh my gosh, yes. Like
Yeah.
I don't actually use Zoom anymore for my lessons. I love Forte because it has been an absolute game changer for me in terms of audio quality. Certainly for my singers, high notes they never cut out anymore. It's awesome.
Mm.
But really, I mean, if you've got the right setup, if you've got the right equipment, um, and more than anything, if you have a good relationship with your teacher, you're gonna
Hmm.
thrive. You're gonna thrive.
Mm.
So,
Oh,
to
awesome.
anybody who's been hesitant, whether it's teaching it or taking lessons online, give it a chance. I really encourage you to give it a chance because I will tell you, honestly, everyone who has started out with me and has expressed some hesitancy about it, they're still with me, and it's been years.
Hmm. Oh, it's so good.
And
It's
they're
so good.
thriving and they're growing, and it makes me so
Yes.
happy. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, you have just touched on so many wonderful things. I'm like looking at my list of all the things we were going to talk about.
Oh,
We're going to have to do
sorry.
a part two. No, no, this is what I prefer, honestly, when we can have a discussion about, what your your passions and, what has fueled your momentum in your business, like that this is it. This is it. This is Jennifer. Like this is who you are and it's so beautiful. I want to let teachers know I'm going to link your Facebook page because I've been so impressed by your ability to write meaningful things about your students. Like it's not just like happy birthday, Jude. It's like happy birthday, Jude. This is all the things I love about you and how great you are. And like, what a gift that is for you to be able to share publicly online these shout outs to your students. Like, it's fantastic. But not only that, you perform, online and you share all kinds of things. That's what's going on and what's happening. And I think it can really inspire other teachers on how they can also share on social media.
Thank you so much. I really, it's funny because I had to do a lot of self-promotional stuff when I was performing even more, and I absolutely hate it. I hate it. Like, and I'm not even a big social media person. I literally only
Yeah.
do it for business at this point. I just, so that's just me. If you love it, good for you. That's great. Sorry, I didn't mean to like Didn't mean to rain on your parade. Love Instagram. But it's not really as much my thing. I find that when I am talking about my students or other people, it is so much
Yes.
easier and I actually enjoy it. I actually enjoy writing the posts. I enjoy, capturing little moments on video during our lessons that, that they're okay with me sharing. I think if you're a person who feels like that doesn't come naturally to you to be a social media person,
Mm,
just know that I've not ever felt that way myself. It has been the bane of my existence as a performer,
mm,
and just keep it about your students. Keep it about the joy that you are getting and that they are getting from your lessons, and the words will just flow. They really will.
oh, thank you. I think that that's going to help a lot of teachers. And knowing you can find your unique voice and personality and what you enjoy writing, you can do that. Teachers can, like, there's so many ways to share your love and passion for music. But it does take practice and it takes consistency and really trying it. But I can imagine people who are learn about your studio or who are referred to your studio can go to your page and it gives them such a great feel for who you are as a teacher and as a person before they ever get in touch with you. And that's why we want teachers on social media, in a way, because it's the best portfolio. And it's not an about page where someone has to read this big long like what you've done and where you've been. It's who you are and what you're actually doing.
It really is the truth. It's their glimpse into your studio. It's their glimpse into you and how you interact, right? How you interact
Mm-hmm.
with a child, how you interact with a teen, what an adult voice lesson is like, right? Because I teach adults too, and yeah, I mean it's a great calling card for people who are curious to know more about you for sure. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this was fantastic. I am so excited to share this with our teachers, and I want to encourage them to go to your Facebook page. I'm looking at it right now. So I think if they type in Jennifer Sheehan, they can find you, but it's
You might want to go to, well, first of all, my performer website, if you are interested to know more about my experience there, is jennifersheehan.com. There's another Jennifer
okay.
Sheehan, but she's a .net. Don't go to hers. Yeah, and then my Facebook is, I believe it's facebook.com/ Jennifer Sheehan Music.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Well, thank you. This was so fun.
you bet. I had a blast. It's so nice talking with you, Carly.
Thanks.